Hello and Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai
We
Shri
are
Mataji.
Luis Garrido and Daniel Boston, and we greet you all to our conversation about basically work of Luis Garrido. Um, Today is 14th of May. For me is the first day after the full moon. For you, it's exactly the full moon
Full moon,
today.
yes.
And
2015, yes. Sorry, 2025, the year.
2025 for
25.
the people who will eventually watch us in the future. I have to tell you a few things about this project and about Luis. First of all, you have to know that I meet Luis about uh, 5 or 6 years ago when I read his first book. I met Luis and Carol in my head reading those books, and I have a very good feeling about them all the time. Wasn't only me, my wife as well. They write at least 5 books that I know. Probably there are a little bit more. Luis will tell us. But for this project about talking about Sahaja Yogi, who are authors and scholars, um, I meet Luis only yesterday. And wasn't a surprise that we feel a good connection after only a few minutes of conversation. Uh, that that is a proof that Sahaja Yoga is working because
Yes,
because we don't know each other. He definitely don't know me at all. If I know him only from his writings. And all of the sudden, he answered to my email to ask for a conversation. And when we talk, which was completely spontaneous because we want to arrange a proper time for a conversation, but changing text on WhatsApp, we realized that we can talk in real time then. So we start a conversation for a few minutes who lasted 1 hour and a half. And in the end, we decided to do that conversation more formal for the hoping for the benefit of myself, but also for others who, if they read Luis' books, I'm sure they will find more interesting things. If they don't read it, probably they will try to buy them and read them because there are real good books. Now, also you have to know that we live in completely different areas. I live in New Zealand, which is exactly opposite to UK, and our time difference is about 11 hours. I will start thanking to Luis for that opportunity to talk about his books and about few other things about his life in Sahaja Yoga. And I will ask him, please let us know who is Luis Garrido, what he's doing now.
Yes, not much. I'm retired now, and I've been doing these books about William Blake and about Sahaja Yoga. Really, Shri Mataji asked me to write about Sahaja Yoga for many, many times. From day one, really, she asked me to write about Sahaja Yoga, and of course, I waited until retirement. Then I started writing them. And when mother asked me to write those books, to write about Sahaja Yoga, I always had the same reply that I'm transcribing your talks, mother. To me, this is the most important thing. I worship your talks, really. What can I say that you have not said? You've said everything. There's nothing for me to say. But she said, no, I wanted to write about Sahaja Yoga, but my reply was always the same. I have nothing to say whatsoever, you see. I don't know what to say. There's nothing beyond mother's talks, really, beyond her lectures. What on earth could I say? It took many years, really. And then the last time Shimataji told me to write, she told me, okay, you are always telling me you don't know what to write. I give you a subject, write about William Blake. So that was the last time we talked about these things. But even then, I didn't know what to write. I had nothing to say still. And then by accident, it's not quite accident, it's maybe destiny, we managed to discover the location of William Blake's grave. You see, this is inspired by mother's teachings. Shri Mataji had already said in her lectures that she was not pleased that the grave of William Blake is so neglected, not well respected, that people are walking over his tomb because people don't know exactly where he's buried. And so people actually are walking over his body without realizing it. But mother knows where the body of William Blake is. See, the gravestone is somewhere else. You see, the body of William Blake is in one place and the gravestone is elsewhere. Even the gravestone of William Blake was saying that nearby lies William Blake. Usually the stones will tell you the gravestones, here lies William Blake. But William Blake's stone was saying, nearby lies William Blake. And for that reason, people were walking all over his body. But Sri Mataji knows exactly where his body is, otherwise, she could not say that. So we knew that William Blake is nearby. We knew that mother is not happy that they are walking over his body. And so we felt inspired. Let's do something crazy. Let's see if we can find the exact location on vibrations.
We will get there. Let's take it slowly. I'm still, and I'm sure our audience, as much as it is, wants to know um, what are you doing? What is your background? What can you tell us about something
Yes. I'll
about
tell you my back.
yourself?
Yes. So I was born in Portugal and spent my life there until the age of 23. I studied law, and then I came to live in England, and then worked in market research. And right now I'm retired. So this is the basics, you know. So my language is not English. That's another difficulty for me to write in English. Although I have been living in England for a while, I've never studied English as such. What I studied was Portuguese law, you see, which in the end I didn't practice here. I practiced in Portugal for a little while, only a very short while. And so for me, writing in English is a big challenge for me, I must tell you.
Welcome to
But
the club, because we have to tell the audience, if they don't find it even now, that uh, I'm more or less in the same situation as you, because I live in New Zealand for nearly 25 years now, but I was born in Romania, which only Luis knows, but the broader audience doesn't, or few other Romanian knows. Also immigrate in the English culture in New Zealand, and also I don't know English. So we are some immigrants who make it in the West without
true.
without knowing too much English. At least from my part, also
Same with me. Same
I
with me.
don't have a formal English education. I learn by living here. And yeah, um, Luis, if you agree, I will challenge you, please, to tell us a little bit of things before Sahaja Yoga. First of all, obviously, you will tell me even if I don't ask you when you received the realization, but I want to know a few things about before that. Uh, was something in your life who drawn you to Sahaja Yoga, to a trigger who make you choose that path? Was something in your childhood or some little experiences, if you have it,
Yes.
you want to share with us?
Yes, I used to feel the joy of the spirit in me, like one feels after self-realization, you know. So
But
when I got
before,
self-realization,
but
by the
before,
time yeah, before Saj Yoga, as a child, I could feel that joy of the spirit, the thoughtlessness and all that. So, but by the time I met Shri Mataji, I was very caught up. So she gave me realization, and then when I felt it, I knew, oh, this is what I used to feel all my life until I lost it. You see, so I was interested in meditation very much before Saj Yoga. I was interested in William Blake before Sahaja Yoga. I was interested in all the religions, whatever I could learn. So I was constantly seeking. And I remember as a child when I heard about the name Lord Buddha, I heard it in a conversation, and immediately it's as if something happened inside of me. I was in a state of bliss. And I thought, oh my God, I need to find out about Lord Buddha. I want so much to worship Lord Buddha. If only there was a temple of Lord Buddha in Portugal, which there isn't. There was not in those days. I would go there and worship, but I had no basis for saying these things. I just heard the name, and there was a great feeling inside. And I thought there's a sign of something that when you hear you see, I think we all have the knowledge inside. We are born with it somehow, so we are sensitive to the incarnations, the great deities, the great saints, even without any knowledge. It's the knowledge within is there. It works. So I have hope that when I die, in my next life, if I see mother's photograph, I will recognize her again. I hope so. This is something I prayed to mother that in my next life, mother, please allow me to recognize you again and to worship you again.
um, just because you bring that into discussion, um, that's the beauty of those recollections and about the discussion, because we find common ground, which is especially for me a big joy. Talking about the next life, I um, uh, read and heard Shimataji that she said that we will incarnate only if we want it. So I was very much hoping that will apply to every one of us, or at least will apply to me, because will give me possibility to choose, which honestly I have no idea how should I choose. If you ask me now, I don't know how should I choose. If you ask my wife, she said, no, I don't want to reincarnate again, to go again to all this mathematics nightmare in the school. And
Yes.
she was joking, obviously, but yeah, we have this controversy every laughing, obviously, every here and there. So we don't know our whereabouts for the next time. But your observation is very pertinent. I mean, yes, if we come back, obviously we should recognize Shimataji again.
I
That's
hope so. I
that's
hope.
for sure.
Yes,
I'm sure that we will come on a even bigger level than now. And also, I'm sure we do something good in our previous life, then we are here able to also recognize Shimataji, because the majority of us come when they see Shri Mataji photo, come to Sahaja Yoga.
Yes,
The
yes.
majority
This
of
this
that.
happened to me, you know.
Exactly. So that I want to bring
So
the
the
next
pho-
topic. Yeah.
the photograph of Shri Mataji is very important. I didn't know who Shri Mataji was, and I was looking at her photograph on a window shop for about a year and a half without knowing who she is. This is just the divine does those miracles, you know. In those days, we had to do some lots of law exams. You know, I had a very long law course. You know, studying law. We had lots of exams, and
You
sometimes
are talking about Portugal. Sorry to
in
interrupt.
Portugal, the photo when I saw mother's photograph,
In Portugal.
you see, in Portugal, yes. So
What
I didn't know about Sahaja Yoga,
what year?
and that was 1981. It's 1981, yes,
Yep.
and maybe end of 1980, but mostly the whole year of 1981. We had some difficult exams, and we used to go and see a lawyer for to help us, you know, towards our law exams, you know. And this lawyer used to say, "You wait outside, you know, wait outside this, you know." So we had to wait outside in the streets, and in the streets there was only one shop, and that was a photographic shop. And in that photographic shop, they had a big photograph of Shri Mataji at the front of the shop, you know. And there was nothing else to look at in that whole street, so we were looking at mother's photograph. And my friend she was a niece of the lawyer. She used to say, "Look at this lady, you know, look at the dot on the forehead of this lady. Always look at the dot, you know. Why? Because my aunt also has the same dot because her aunt was from Goa, Indian is also. So she also had the same dots. So look at the dot of this lady. So when you go inside the office, you know, if you see my aunt, don't stare at the dot. Don't talk about the dot. Don't ask her, is that blood or something? Don't say anything about the dot. Just greet her with respect. Otherwise, she'll throw you out of the office, you know, straight away. If you start talking about that dot or saying, is that blood or anything stupid, you are out. So you can look at this lady here. It's also another Indian lady, you know, with the same dot. And that's it. So we had nothing else to do. We used to look at Shrimataji's face, looking at the dot, waiting to be called by the lawyer to get a lesson from him. And every time we did this, we had very good exams. You know, the exams were very easy, and we used to think this lawyer is a genius. He can guess even the questions that are going to happen on the exam. How can he do this? You know, we thought he was a genius. We didn't know this is the effect of looking at mother's photograph before an exam. So I was exposed to mother's photograph for 1 year, you see, and then one day. Shri Mataji came to Portugal, you see, and my mom attended the program,
In what
and
year?
that was
1991?
1980, no, 1982. So,
1982?
so 82. So for a year, all I had was mother's photograph
Yep.
without knowing who she is. But,
Yeah.
you know, I was looking at her a lot, you know. And then one day, my mom goes to see Shri Mataji, you know, and then she arrives home very late, you know, that night. She arrived at 3 a.m. Between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., my mom arrived back home, and she woke me up. Because this is right, the best time to wake someone up is around 4 a.m., you see. And she showed me the photograph of Shri Mataji and they said, here she is. This is the one you've been looking for all your life, you know. So the photograph came to my home, you see. So the next day I went to see Shri Mataji, you know. And what a tremendous thing, you know. When I saw Shri Mataji the first time, I got a vision in which I saw all my previous lives in matters of seconds. You know, this vision is in about a few seconds. I saw all my previous lives, and in all those previous lives, there was a lady, which is like Shri Mataji exactly, looking at me from above, like from a cloud, looking at me, checking. Oh, look at what he's doing now, what he's doing now, what he's doing now, checking on everything. You know, so Shri Mataji had been there in all my previous lives, somehow guiding or protecting, or I don't know how. This was a very strange vision to have in a second, you know, or two. And before this happened, I had a
That's
motorbike
happened.
accident.
That's happened when you went to the program.
When I first saw Shri Mataji,
First,
I
Ab-
saw her face. When I
you
saw
saw
her
the,
face, and this happened to me, you see.
so
But
Shimataji have two programs. The first one was attended by your mother, and the second one,
no, the second one was at the place where she was staying. It was not
aha,
a, it was an informal public program.
yeah,
Not
okay.
a public program. It's just for the people who had already seen mother before. She was welcoming them to her home, the place where she was staying.
And who bring you there? Your mother?
My mom brought me there.
Yep, yep.
So we went there, and before this happened, you see, I had a motorbike accident, you see. And in that motorbike accident, while I was, the motorbike hit the car, and my body went up in the air, and then during those seconds where I was up in the air before hitting the car, I saw my whole life, not my previous lives, that current life that I had, as a child. I was still young. And I saw all my life up until that moment. Then I saw my funeral. I saw my parents crying. This takes so long to describe, and yet it's in 1 second while my body is in the air before landing on the car. And I saw my whole life up until that second. And also, a lady appeared on a cloud again, like an angel, you see. I thought it was an angel. And she said, "What a wasted life when this was your most important life, where you had to achieve something spiritually, This was a very strange thing. And then suddenly, bang, the noise of my helmet falling on the car. And from the car, I fell onto the floor, and there was no harm. Nothing happened to me. Not a scratch. I was perfectly fine. So this was the experience where I was able to see my whole life in a second. But when I saw Shri Mataji and I saw a lady in the air, also in the cloud, more or less the same lady, but this time I thought it was an angel. I didn't know who it was, you see. And in that cloud, she said to me, look at the wasted life, what a shame. And so I saw my whole life, in a second, really. But when I saw Shri Mataji, I saw all my previous lives as well, not the current one. And this all takes place in 1 second. It's impossible. I mean, if I could describe in great detail the whole thing, but it takes ages to say. And it's a fraction of a second. I had never had, this is the only two experiences I had like this. So when I saw Mother, I knew this is something vital to me, really essential, you see. And in those days, I had many problems. By the time I came to see Mother, I was in a very bad shape, mentally, health-wise, all sorts of problems, many problems, serious problems. And Mother started solving all my problems straight away, immediately. So it was an enormous experience, really.
Including your physical mother, uh, she have problems and she get better.
My mother was okay, My mother did not benefit so much, because then she gave up Sahaj. So she never felt such a any big improvements or anything.
But she
So
bring you
Mama,
to Sahaja. But she
she
bring you to Sahaja
yes,
Yoga.
yeah,
She's done her job.
yes, I think
Like
so.
many others with us, which bring us to Sahaja Yoga and after that
Yes,
retire.
then
Or
she left.
it's
Then
a
she.
phenomenon. It's a phenomenon. I've noticed that.
I've seen that before with other people also. Yes,
Exactly. Uh,
yes.
Luis, have you obviously tell that story to other people? I'm curious if you make it public to. I have no chance to see all the talking with David Jesus Vignoli. You you have a podcast uh, with him. Have you tell that story as well in public?
I don't remember if because it's long time ago we had that conversation. I don't remember what stories I covered or not. Maybe I don't know.
Anyway, either way, I want to thank you for sharing that with me and the people who will watch us. Before we start that conversation and before we hear what you told me, I know you are an old Sahaja Yogi. I know you few things about you, very few. But I thought best achievement are those books. So that one, this one we will talk about hopefully soon. But I have to tell you, my friend, your best moment in your life are the one you just told me now. I mean,
Oh, yes. Meeting
your
Shri Mataji, yes.
your
It's the
book, yes,
highest.
your book are important and will be important for the people who will read them as the informate information level, as the spiritual level. But what you tell me now, what you told me now, it's something from the different world, and thank you for that. um, so we are in 1982.
Too.
Yes.
So I
You-
met Shri Mataji and
yes.
she told me I should come to England to visit her, you know. At that time, she told me that, and out of politeness, I said nothing, but my mind was telling me it's not a good time for me to go because I've just finished my law degree. Now my parents want me to, start working and do something with my life. They won't be pleased, my parents, if I go to travel now to take a nice holiday, and I didn't have the money. I was a student, still didn't have my first job as a lawyer. So inside myself, my brain said, I can't go because, I can't afford it now to travel and I need to concentrate. My parents won't be pleased. So, out of politeness, I said nothing. So, mother was telling me to do one thing and the message was not penetrating, you see. So, mother told me again, a second time, Louis, I'm telling you, it's very important. You must come and see me in London. You must pay me a visit. And again, my brain told me exactly the same that, yes, but not now. you know. And mother said a third time, no, listen with the, pay attention. It's important. You must come and see me. you
So
know.
she told
So
you
suddenly the
she
message
told you
dropped
she told you
three
three times.
times.
And
Yes.
that's happened after you get the realization
After I got my realization at the
in
airport, at the airport when she was coming back to London, she told me that, Louis, you must come and see me in London. It's very important. You must visit me. She said it three times because she knows everything. The message was not penetrating. I was saying, my mind was saying, well, not now, can't afford it. My parents won't like it. Uh, but then suddenly the message dropped, and I realized, yes, I must come and see Sri Mataji. And before leaving, Shri Mataji also told me that if ever I get in any trouble, any serious problem, go and speak to this lady there, a certain lady. That lady was my aunt because my aunt also came to see Shri Mataji. So
there
Shri
are
Mataji,
sorry to interrupt. There are many Sahaja Yogi by that time. In we are talking about 1982. So was
24,
one of the
four
first
Sajak,
one of the
four.
first programs over out of England, probably out of Britain.
No, no.
No.
Mother gave, this was now the third time Mother was coming to Portugal, you see.
Okay.
So the first time generated three Saj Yogis because Mother came twice. And then when she came again, I was the fourth Saj Yogi. So in those days there was only four Saj Yogis, and Mother
And
gave
she came with
came
some
three
other
times.
English Sahaja Yogi, or she came by herself.
No, she came with some Saj Yogis from Switzerland
Uh-huh.
and others. She never came alone.
Yeah.
So she gave. This was the third year Mother was coming to Portugal. So there were only three Saj Yogis, and then I became the number four. And as I was saying, so because Mother told me to come and see her, I decided to go and see her. But before leaving, Shri Mataji told me, if ever you get in a big problem, big trouble, go and ask this lady for advice, follow her advice. This was my aunt. So as soon as Shri Mataji left the country, I received my uh, orders from my regiment to present myself and start military training.
Ooh.
Our military training in those days was 1 year and a half, and then we had to be sent to war. Usually, the Portuguese soldiers were sent to war. So, and I was in very bad health. I didn't want to go to do the military training. So, when that letter arrived, ordering me to present myself in my regiment, to start training, military training, I remembered Shri Mataji's advice, which was, if you have a big trouble, go and ask advice from that lady and follow it. That was my aunt. So I went to see my aunt, and I didn't know this about her. My aunt's best friend was a military judge, you see. So because her best friend was married to a military judge, she told me what I should do to avoid starting the military training now. Part of the advice was that I had to also leave the country and go to England, you see. So everything tied up. Okay, now I'm going to see Shri Mataji. Of course, it's the best I can do. That's the safest. I did exactly what the judge said to postpone my military training. I left the country as he told me and went to see Shri Mataji. But just before going to see Shri Mataji, my mom said to me, next time we meet you, it'll be your marriage, okay? It'll be your wedding. Next time we meet you. And I told my mom, don't talk like this, mom. What's this? I'm going to London to see Shri Mataji. I'm not going to get married, just to see Shri Mataji. Please don't talk like that. And my mom reminded me, do you remember what you said all your life? Oh, yes, I know, but I was very young when I said those things. So the things I used to say when I was a child was like this. In those days, there was a war. Portugal was at war in the colonies.
Just a small details. I don't know too much history of Portugal, but where was the war? Just for my curiosity, in Africa, Angola, or
In Africa, colonies, Angola, Mozambique,
Angola,
Guinea.
Mozambique?
These are
Okay,
the
because
Portuguese
those are
colonies.
Portuguese colonies. Yes. Okay. Sorry.
So, as I was growing up, the war was there, and my aunts, my uncles, my grannies, they used to ask me, so when you grow up, do you want to join the Navy, the Army, or the Air Force? Which one do you want to? You are not a coward. You are going to fight for your country, aren't you? And I used to say, no, I cannot go because I have to go to London to get married. I used to say this. I got many slaps on the face, for saying this stupid thing that I cannot go to the military or Air Force or Navy because I have to go to London to get married. And who are you going to marry then in London or in England? Oh, I'm going to marry a girl called Carol. So I said this almost, throughout my childhood up to the age of 11, I was saying these things. And then I got enough slaps for being a coward or a traitor, and I stopped saying those things. I forgot about this. But as I was going to London to see Sri Mataji, my mom said to me, look, you are going to get married because you said that all your life you were going to go to London to get married and you would not do your military service for that reason, you see. So this is what's happening, you see. So I went to London, I met Shri Mataji, and Shri Mataji arranged my marriage. And she chose a girl for me called Carol. Exactly what I used to say, that I was going to marry a girl called Carol. Now, you ask me, how come I used to say I'm going to marry a girl called Carol? How this happened is like this. There was a popular song called Oh Carol. This is a pop song there was.
Oh,
And
Carol,
that's the one. And I used to
the sweets.
yes, that song had been translated to Portuguese, the language, the words, and I used to sing it as a child. There were lots of competitions, for children, at the zoo. And every time I went to the zoo for the competition, I always won the competition. And my song was always the same. Oh, Carol. And then there was some competitions at the casinos for children. I also used to go there. Whenever I went there and sang the song "Oh Carol," I always won the competition. So this is the reason why I used to say when they ask me, "So what's the name of the girl you are going to marry?" Carol, of course. So Shrimataji shows me an English girl, and the name is Carol. You see, which is amazing. So I rang my mom to say, Mom, I have great news. And my mom said straight away, Shut up. Don't tell me the news. I'll tell you the news. You are gonna get married. I said, Wow, yes. How did you know? All right. And then my mom said, Let me tell you the name of the girl, by the way. She's called Carol. I said, Yes, she's called Carol. My mom remembered this type of nonsense I used to say as a child, you see.
Wow.
So everything happened. Mother made this dream or prophecy of mine, small prophecy, came true. She helped me to avoid the military service. And the reason why mother helped me to avoid the military service is because I was not in good health. You know, it was very dangerous at the time for me to have gone into the military service when, according to mother, she told me straight away, you are a heart patient, you are not in good health. It's quite dangerous for you to go on the military service right now. So mother helped to that. Otherwise, mother may have said, all right, do the military service anyway. You know, everybody has to do it. That's life, you know. Usually that's the situation, but there was a health reason, so mother helped, you see. So I am very thankful to mother the way she helped me with so many things. Mother would help everybody. Everybody. She
How's
had
how's your health now? Your problem was with the heart, you said? A little.
yes.
Uh,
Well, I still have a little bit of sometimes a little bit of high blood pressure, but nothing
okay.
else, you know. Just a little bit of high blood pressure, you know.
But you are in a good health, like your
I hope
face will
so.
show.
I don't know if I'm in good health, but everything is fine. I've so far, you know, but old age is old age, so we'll see. But so far, so good. I've
We
never
have
had
to
any.
we have to tell the audience that we are the same age, and we are both retired. I am before my age one year, and I suppose you are retired at 65 or something.
60, yeah, 66.
Yeah.
In England, we retire at 66.
Okay. In New Zealand, 65. In Romania, 65. But I retire one year early. I get offer I cannot refuse, so I have to. I-
Yes.
was fantastic. Was very good. Best decision in my life. So we are the same age. Um, If you want to tell me more about your experiences in Sahaja Yoga, you are most welcome. Before we started, we said we go brief on this biographical stage of your life, but looks like was one of the best story I heard. One of the first Sahaja Yogi uh, ever, because not too many Sahaja Yogi by that time, even in England. Shri Mataji, I remember, struggled few good years with some people. Obviously, you meet them. Can you tell us a little bit more about those first year in Sahaja Yoga
Yes.
in England? Because you are the first
Yes.
one. I know a few things, but only from Shri Mataji's talks or other people stories.
So, some other told me to come to England to meet her. So I was coming. I was coming by train and then by boat because coming from Portugal, you can take a train, then you take the boat Dover, and after the boat, you get a train to London. And as I was coming with my suitcases, you know, the Saj Yogis told me, look, Sri Mataji, when she came to Portugal, she did a lot of shopping and she didn't bring it home. So it's your turn now. You take those suitcases of mother with you, things she bought, and there was some very large paintings mother had bought, you know, and they were about at least a meter and a half long. You see, those are very long, you see, and very very big, you see. So I was carrying those on my shoulder. You know, they were wrapped up, and I had them on a string on my shoulder. I had another big suitcase, two suitcases of Sri Mataji, you know, with me as well, plus my luggage, you see. So when I arrived on the boat before disembarking at the customs, the English officer said, "Look, what kind of tourist is this? You know, you look like a salesman with all those suitcases and paintings and this and that. You know, you are not a genuine. You are not a genuine." Tourist, you know, we are here for business. We are here either salesman or moving house. You are planning to come and stay here for forever. You see, he was right. It happened, but I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I thought I was just coming to pay a little visit to Sri Mataji, and I'm bringing her stuff, you know, my suitcase as well. And so you are going back to where you came from. You don't want this type of tourists, you know. And by the way, show me how much money you have. I had hardly any money, you see. Have you got a return ticket? No, not yet, just a one way. Okay, that's very obvious, your intention, you see. Don't have a return ticket, you have hardly any money, and tell me the address where you are staying. Oh, I haven't got an address to stay. No? What have you got then? Oh, I have a phone number. It's the phone number of the ashram. It's then when I'm in London, I will ring that number and find out the address. So my traveling arrangements were completely in the air, no planning. You see, just came like this. So he said, "All right, go to this place in the queue." I was the only one on that queue, the ones who refused to send back. You see. So another guy comes and joins my queue. A big man, very big man, very well dressed, very wealthy. He goes to the same queue as me, which is the queue for the people who have been refused. So I told him, don't stay on this queue. This is the queue for the people with bad luck like me. Go to the main queue. He said, oh no, I like this queue. This is the best queue. I'll stay here on this queue. He was a very important man, so he demanded attention from the customs officer. Can we have some attention here, please? And the officer came immediately. He could see this is an important man. And they said, what's the problem with this guy? Me. Why is he being refused? Oh, he has no money. Really? Is that all? All right. So from the pockets of it took huge bundles of money in elastic bands and put them on the table. Is this enough? Do you want more money? It took more money and put it on the table. Okay, now there is money. But what about an address? That's my address. You can have my address. You can stay with me. Do you take responsibility for this man? Do you sign a declaration that you are responsible for him? Absolutely. Give me the paper. I'll sign it straight away. I've never seen this man in my life. So I was admitted straight away, me and him. Of course, he was admitted, but I was admitted because now he's responsible for me. He's giving me an address. He's giving me all this money if I need. So they could not refuse me. This is a big miracle. And when I went on the train, I saw this man again, and he was like giving a speech in a little compartment, and everybody was there listening with great respect to him. And I thought, oh my God, I have to keep an eye on mother's luggage in case someone steals it and the paintings. So I left that carriage and went straight away to where I had all my suitcases and told the guy there with me, keep an eye on these suitcases. They are from a great lady, saintly lady, very important. While I go and say hello to that man because he did all this for me, you see. So I went to that carriage where he was giving a big speech. When I arrived there, he was gone. And they asked the people, where did this man go? The one who was here giving a big speech. There was no man here giving any speech or nothing. There was no man here, just us. That man, this a train, a moving train, it disappeared. Who is this man? I felt I didn't even realize that man must have been someone very special, like an angel or something. But he brought me to the country. So I arrived in London. I made a phone call. They told me the address of Shalsham Road, and then I met Shri Mataji, of course. So it's a very strange journey.
Luis, you know me barely for 25 hours, but you know that I'm not easy shut up, not easy shocked by something. Uh, wow, wow. Yeah, your stories let me speechless. Do you have more stories like that, my friend? I mean,
I
you
have, yes,
you
lots
just
of them,
you just
lots of them.
you just started. So,
Can we
uh,
take a break? Is it possible to take a break?
dear people who look at us
Can I
now,
take?
I prepare
I'm,
all
I'm,
the
I'm,
books.
I need to take a break. Sorry, I need to take a break. Maybe you can talk about the books and I'll be back in a minute.
Okay,
Do you
okay.
mind? You can talk about the books. I'll be back in a second.
I will talk about you. Uh, dear people who are watching us, I was hoping to talk about this book of Luis, and instead of that, we are talking about more important things like his fantastic experience in Sahaja Yoga. So we will continue to be amazed about his experiences, and hopefully sometimes we will get to the books.